Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight we are talking about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 19. Y'all, we are one episode away from Decision Day. Thank God. We almost there, baby. We almost made it. And if you have stuck it through with me and watched all of my recaps, thank you. We are almost to the end and we gonna get there, okay? So this episode starts off with Clint recording himself talking about being blindsided by Gina and how offended he was by what she said about his character. And I think that Clint knows who he is, right? And he likes who he is. And people have always liked who he is. So hearing what Gina said probably really threw him for a loop, because it's probably the first time somebody has been like, this person, I don't like these characteristics, right? So he probably has always thought, I'm loud, I'm outgoing, and people love it. And Gina's like, yeah, but I don't. And I think that was a shock to him, because thinking that Gina doesn't find him attractive is one thing, but finding out she doesn't actually like who he is a completely separate thing. And I could see how that might sting a little bit, because not being somebody's type, well, I'm not your type. But if you think you're likable and she's like, you're not, it's kind of like, wait a minute, that's gonna hurt, right? Like, I mean, you want to be attractive to people, but thinking that you have a good personality, like, oh, everybody, I may not be everybody's cup of tea looks wise, but I have a good personality. And she's basically like, no, you don't. And that probably was pretty heartbreaking to him. I could see how that would, play off as something that would actually really hurt him, because he is somebody who's very sensitive about who he is, because I think he's most confident about who he is. And because he's confident about who he is, saying you don't like who he is probably very hurtful. Okay. Mac and Eris are at the gym. First of all, why does Mac keep coming back to the gym with these people? Like, is he still living in the apartments? Did he not move out when Dominique was like, I'm leaving? Like, I understand that they have contracts and that there is, I guess, like a fee or something that they charge if you terminate early. Like, is Mac trying to get out of that fee by still showing up? Did they offer him a deal to show up? I don't know, but I'm like, why is he still here causing trouble? And Eris calls him out like, hey, I'm hearing that you sliding in people's DMs. What's going on? And, obviously we have been seeing this clip like in commercial over and over about him talking about sliding in Gina's DMs. So now here's this big moment. And he tells us he's sliding in her DM because they share a mutual friend, but he doesn't really know the girl that well. She's like a famous singer, but the girl is like Gina's friend. And he's like, oh, I'm DMing her for her to hook us up. Now, why he lying? Because he already has said in many confessionals that he's attracted to Gina. And if it doesn't work out with Clint, he wants to holler at her. But now all of a sudden, he in her DMs talking about a friend. I know y'all don't believe that. And I don't believe it. Like, I think he did that as a way to kind of open up a line of communication, but he's trying to play it cool because technically she's still married to Clint and technically she could still say yes. Or maybe he's just saying that for cameras and they're already talking. Who knows, right? Maybe that's why Gina's so closed off, because she already knows she about to go and try it with McKinley as soon as these cameras are off. I wouldn't be surprised, right? Next we see Kirsten and Shaq. They be doing dumb stuff, okay? They went to a church and it was empty. Now they go on to a songwriter to have them write a song about their relationship. Like, I know maybe they trying to be creative, but to me it just seems stupid. I was like, wait, what are they doing? I'm so sorry. If you guys like that idea, fine, perfect, whatever. I think it's stupid as shit. Excuse my language. I've been trying not to cuss, y'all. I try so hard. And they go and they're talking, and Shaq's giving lyrics and she's giving lyrics. And then Kirsten sings. And I don't know why she did that, because baby girl can't sing. Like, not a lick. Not, you know how there's people that can carry a tune, they can't sing, but they don't sound like terrible if they're trying to, like, you know, just carry a note. No, she sounded terrible. She was so bad. I was like, oh my God, they want her to look bad. But you know what? I commend her for being very confident in that voice of hers, because she hears something different than the rest of us. We all hear something, and Kirsten hears something else. And then they played the song, and it was terrible, like I thought. Like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just like, I don't get the point of this. But it seemed like they were having, like, a good time together. Like, it did seem like that event was fun for them. And as long as they're having fun, I'm happy. But yeah, so in their conversation, they talk about happiness, and Shaq says, like, the goal is for me to be happy. Kirsten, on the other hand, says, I want us to be happy. I want you to be happy. I want myself to be happy. And I've noticed that Shaq talks in a way that's very selfish. Me, I need, I want, this is what I need. This is what, and Kirsten talks in more of a way of like, what do we need to move forward? Like, I want us to be happy. I want us to both be satisfied, which is so different from how Shaq talks and moves. And I've noticed that he always is very selfish, and then he course corrects to include her, to not sound as bad. But he initially comes in very, very selfish. And I hope everybody has been paying attention to that, because, which I think they haven't been, because people seem to think Shaq is so great. But I think people haven't noticed that he has to course correct to include her, because most of his wants and needs are very self-centered. He says he's looking for security, but he feels like there's a missing piece. And I'm like, what security? Are you looking for her to, like, do what exactly? Like, I kind of didn't understand that. She tries to explain to him that, you know, her family doesn't want to be on camera, and that has really been the issue this whole time. I mean, scheduling as well, but they don't want to be on camera for whatever reason. And to be honest, Kirsten signed up for the show, not Kirsten and family, right? Other people's families are there because they agree once their family is there, but it's not really up to them to be on the show. But I just feel like she is doing a lot, and he just is never satisfied. Nothing is enough for him that she does. And I just feel so bad for her, because I want it to be enough, and I think it should be enough, and it's just not enough for him. He's always just, oh, I need this, or I need that, or I need this, or I need you to do this for me, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know what else to say, or what else she can do, right? Like, what else can she do? Gina and Clint go to the ranch to ride horses. And a part of me feels like, and I could be wrong, maybe they're focusing on it because Gina made a comment, but Clint is really doing up his character. And I don't know if he's doing it because Gina made a comment about not liking his character, or if they're just focusing more on it to show, like, what she was saying, because her face gets irritated. But yeah, that's how it is. She absolutely doubles down on the conversation of agreeing that she thinks he's bizarre and outrageous. But she does apologize and say she's sorry if it does make him feel bad. But as for me, Petty Chi, I'd have been like, girl, that's why you look like blah, 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 blah. I don't take back this. You raggedy. That's why that girl quit your hair job, your hair salon. Whoopty, whoopty, whoop. I don't take insults, well, and I would have gone off on her. But honestly, I don't think she meant it as an insult. I think she was just trying to get to the root of why she can't get to that attraction level with him. So I do kind of give her that grace, but I just know the way she said it was really harsh. And the fact that she had never said it to him before, and it's kind of like this moment in public, you telling everybody you hate who I am, basically. It's too much for you. It's a little harsh, I think, but I will give her the fact that she was just trying to explain where she's coming from. But I'm just saying, ain't no way, boy, I would have gone off on her personally. But I'm petty, okay? Clint is not a petty person. He doesn't seem like it. Not everybody's petty. Everybody's different. Chris and Nicole have a little nice curated dinner. Honestly, I don't know if they're trying to, or they told them to kind of make it seem like their decision isn't like steady. But now Nicole is talking all this talk about like, I don't know my decision. I want to make sure that I'm saying yes for the right reasons. And I want you to be saying yes for the right reasons. If you do, I'm like, don't do this. Not 3 days before decision day. Don't get on my TV screen and start doing this, okay? That BS. Don't do this. Because we have been watching you this whole season be so lovey-dovey, this and that, whoop-de-whoop, and now you're coming with 2 days, 3 days to decision day talking about, I just don't know if this is a genuine... Nicole, you finna piss me off, okay? And finding out that she thinks like, if I say no, I'm not like, it's not, she's trying to say it like, I'm not saying no because I don't want to be with you. I'm saying no because I think you're saying yes because you think that's what I want to hear. And that is what pisses me off, because I'm like, Nicole, even though I think they're both going to say yes, I do think she has an element of self-sabotage to her. And to be quite frank, I am sick of it. Like, girl, you can only do that so many times before it's like, go seek help. Like, you don't need a marriage right now. Or while going through this marriage, you need to be heavily involved in therapy and working on these issues, because if you're working on them, they shouldn't be coming up as much as they are in this situation. But it seems like every other episode, trauma from her past is keeping her from being able to move forward in a way that us as viewers would really like to see. I think Chris has trauma. It's probably why he's agreeable, but it's like his isn't manifesting as bad. I think hers is just anxiety and nerves, and she has to say what's on her mind. And I like people like that, because I'm one of those people that as soon as I think something, I have to say it. But I'm like, girl, you need to like, because what you're doing is making Chris believe that you're not secure in your relationship. So someone like him is probably going to be like, well, you know what? Maybe I should back out because I'm dealing with somebody that's not secure, because you have so many what ifs, instead of just saying, you know what? I'm trusting you. And she'll say that, I'm trusting you, but I think this is great. However, and it's like, there's so many of these but, yet, however, despite this, that, and it's like, just be. If it works, fantastic, right? I think there's a lot of great couples we've seen come out of MAFS and they've worked out. And if it works for 5 years or 6 years or 2 months or 1 year, that's okay. But I feel like the way she's acting is like, it can't have, like, there's only one result that can happen. It has to work now and forever, or it doesn't work at all. And I think that's too much pressure, right? You assume, the assumption when you say yes on decision day is that you're gonna last. You don't go into decision day thinking 3 years later we're gonna call it quits. I don't know. Nicole just has too many thoughts running through her head, and I don't think it's good for her or Chris or their relationship. Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper went to see Jasmine and Eris, and they couldn't be more lovey-dovey. You see Pastor Cal smiling as the conversation is going on, and I'm watching it like, no, don't do this. Let me tell you, I watched a lot of this episode saying, don't do this. Don't do this to me. Because why are y'all like, and I get that the point of the show is to work through and hopefully find attraction and stay married. But that piece has not been touched upon. They have talked about her speaking out more. They have talked about Eris being more open. They have talked about all these things. But the main thing of him being attracted to her or not, that just has not been mentioned and has been swept under the rug. They're touching, they're holding hand. He's checking in with her like she mentions, and she's speaking up more or trying to be more communicative with him. And it's like, but is he attracted to you? Why are we not talking about that? That's the most important thing here, because if he's not attracted to you, then there's still nothing. And it's just, and Pastor Sakal says to them, which I do agree with, you don't know if this marriage is going to work until you're outside of the show, right? And the cameras aren't there. And I actually agree with that statement, but I just feel like if you're not attracted to her, what are we doing here? Like, why are we playing in everybody's face? Namely mine. They're playing in my face. They playing in y'all face too. And some of y'all are eating it up. But I will not. Don't play in my face, because it's like, you are not attracted to her. And that's why that conversation has completely ceased. But she likes when he says little sweet things, and you could tell, right? They were in there. He had his arm wrapped around her. Like, they went from sitting next to each other, not touching it now. And I pray, I really, 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 really do pray that that's genuine on his part. And he really is trying to say, if I touch her, if I get close to her, then maybe that attraction will build. And I'm hoping that's the case. And if that's the case, my slend, I remove it. I take it back. However, I don't know if that's the case. Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper meet with Kirsten and Shaq. I find Shaq to be the fakest person ever. I'm sorry. I don't find any parts of him to be genuine. I think I've said this before. Who they thought Jasmine was as the calculated pageant girl is who I think Shaq is. He's very calculated in his responses. He's not honest or authentic, I don't think. And he complains a lot. That's just how I view him. I don't think that outside of this situation that he's probably not like a nice guy. He probably is a nice guy. He's probably cool and whatever. But I feel like for this situation, and I mean, there are cameras following you. So I think he's cultivating a character of how he wants to be seen rather than just being, right? And Pastor Cal's like, I think you guys would be a power couple, XYZ. You guys make such a good couple on paper. And I do see that based on their interests and what they do and, all that stuff. I do see that. I actually agree. But they're just two people who, much like Gina and Clint, are just not really attracted to each other. I mean, they tried, they had sex, they did that, but there's no real connection other than that. And that's why they have so many, what seems like petty arguments. In that moment, Shaq also admits that he met Kirsten's father and her stepmom, which is good, right? They did it off camera. I don't know what took so long, right? But I don't have the space to question her father, who did not sign up for the show. And maybe he didn't want her to tell. And that's her daddy. I'm not going to. And my daddy says, don't say. We're going to be on camera. I'm going to be looking stupid, I guess, because I'm not going to say it, because that's my dad. Simple, right? So I kind of am on her side with that. Sorry, I hold family in such high regard, right? So I'm on her side with that. But I think that Shaq was just, that situation was just kind of too much, But I feel like the comments he kind of made surrounding, and maybe I misheard, but the comments this is why I watch TV shows with closed captions, because I literally feel like sometimes I can't hear what people are saying. But it sounded like he was like, I'm happy to meet them, but why was it this late? Like, I feel like there's still, it's like, okay, you really never satisfied, huh? Because you always gonna find a problem. You met him, be happy, but whatever. Um, Jasmine and Eris go kayaking as their like final date. I don't know why they went kayaking. I feel like that's such an odd thing to do because it's something where someone is sitting behind you, so your conversations are very I don't know. It just is a weird thing to do. I don't believe in kayaking. I've done it, but I don't believe in it. Um they then start talking and she was like, how do you feel about your decision for decision day? Eris was like, I feel comfortable. I think he feels that way because he's planning to say no. She says she feels comfortable, but she's going back and forth. So I don't know how comfortable you feel if you're going back and forth. I think she just wanted to match Eris's energy. She don't know what she's doing. I think she wants to say no because he doesn't find her attractive. I mean, that's basic. Any person would feel that way. But I think she also wants to say yes because of the sweet things he said and the positive moments that they've had and all of that. So I think that she is having a double mind. And that's why I don't like that extra effort that he's been putting in because it's confusing to her. I get that. But Jasmine does say something that makes me feel like I have hope for her, and saying no is that a lot of work needs to happen and change needs to happen. Sorry, my chair is squeaky. I probably need some WD-40 or something. But she's like, a lot of change needs to happen. Not chair. A lot of change needs to happen for her to say yes on decision day, and for him to say yes too. So I think that was kind of like a good little ender to know, like, hopefully she's leaning more towards no. So after that, all the men meet up, all the women meet up, and like, I don't know where the men went, maybe to a bar, or like they've been doing a lot of those breweries, or what are those things called where they go and taste the alcohol and stuff. It seems like they do that. And the women went someplace. Jasmine was late. They're having a good time. They're all talking. Clint says that he thinks that Nicole and Chris need to argue one good time to make sure that they really know where they stand with each other and how they work through adversity. And it's true. If you've only ever seen one side of a person, I mean, he's probably seen two. He's seen her happy and he's seen her overthinking and being a little extra about things. That's what he has seen, but he hasn't actually seen Nicole pissed, right? Like, I'm mad at this, or you did something I don't like. I don't think they've had that experience yet. And I do think that when that happens, that's going to really be telling to how that relationship is going to work out. And because they haven't had it, Clint's right. They could say yes on decision day because in 2 months they haven't really had anything. But if that blow up happens on week 9, who knows, right? You hope that they've built a good enough foundation to kind of move through it, but you just don't know. So I'm hoping that something happens to kind of shake them up, to let them know where they're at. Nicole is overthinking things, of course. Clint asks Shaq if he and Kirsten have fun together, and if he can imagine himself being single again. And Shaq's like, oh, we really haven't had fun, which is really weird because we've seen them do a lot of things that looked fun and looked like they were both having fun. Oh God, the squeaky chair. They look fun and look like they were both having fun. So for him to say that also is very telling of where he stands with their relationship. Like, he looks at it very negatively. Like, he can't pick positives from their situation and go with it. He only sees the bad, or at least that's how it feels. He also asks Eris about being single, and Eris is like, no, I do miss it, obviously, because he hasn't had sex in 8 weeks, and he's somebody who had sex right before decision day or 2 weeks before decision day, so clearly he don't be going a long time without it. And he said he misses it, but he also, enjoys being married, and he talks about how he missed Jasmine and the dog when he came back while everybody was away. And he's like, I kind of got used to that. And getting used to something isn't the same as actually missing Jasmine, right? It means you got used to the company always being there, but it's like, do you miss Jasmine? Who knows, right? And so, yeah, Jasmine is talking to the group of women like she's going to say no. She kind of sounds like she's thinking that what has happened is good, but it's not really enough to, try and be committed. I mean, and I agree. I think we all just playing a big game of let's pretend we don't see what we see on our screens. And I'm not doing that for y'all. I'm telling y'all what I see. But they playing it. I'm not playing. But then while they were out, the women get approached by a group of men. By the way, I am convinced that this was a setup. But either way, they get approached by a group of men. And, Nicole's, she's loud. She's like, oh, we're all married and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know what she says about Chris, but they all start calling him a beta. And let me tell you something about calling people betas. You're a loser. So those men instantly to me, all those men were losers because why? Like, it was such a lame conversation to go and tell somebody's wife, like, oh, your husband must be a beta if this and this and that and this, whatever it was. You, sir, are a loser, a big freaking loser, okay? And I'm going to stay with that belief. Those men, every single one of those men that they talked to that alluded to or believed that there are beta males and alpha males, I'm here to tell you, you're a loser, okay? You don't know Chris. You're a loser, okay? You don't know nothing about that man. And Nicole, maybe she was a little drunk. Maybe she needed to nip that in the bud, like, that's my husband and I'm going to stick beside him. Y'all need to stop talking crazy, and left that situation. Because no, not my husband. Not on national TV, baby. Nope. But that's my thoughts. I don't know. Everybody different. So one of the guys is trying to talk to Kirsten, and I don't know what he's saying. He's like, oh, you're so focused. What are you focused on? I don't know if he thought that line was going to work. And she was like, I'm focused on my husband. She shut it down. She was like, nope. And it's funny because Nicole kind of alluded to the fact, like, she's like, some of us are married, but some of us may not be married soon. And I think she was looking at Kirsten, Gina, and Jess. And so, one of the guys, I guess, is also a dog breeder. And so they pushed him in Jasmine's direction and was like, hey, like, you guys would probably get along. And he was doing the most. Again, cameras are on them. It looked like there was only them and those men in the club or the bar or whatever it was. So it seemed very staged, which I hope it was, because then that makes the interaction a lot less cringe. But yeah, the guy was flirting with Jasmine and she liked it. She enjoyed the attention, which I think is nice, because if you're so used to your husband saying he's not attracted to you and here come these men ready to give you a little attention, then I'm on her side, right? You're going to like it. And if you know you're going to say no on decision day, then girl, get something in the lineup, in the rotation ready, because why not? But the guy was like, oh, come hop with my car with me. Pulls out his little BMW keys and is trying to be like, oh, trying to show out. But yeah, I don't even think that's his car. Maybe it is. I don't know the man. Let me not shade him. But yeah, so it was just a weird interaction. Those men were doing the most. Again, I understand cameras are on, so sometimes people be doing things that they normally wouldn't do, but it was a very weird situation. After that, they all go home. Gina tells Clint immediately about the men, and you could tell that it's because she sees him as a friend. Nicole tells her man, I don't know if, I can't remember if Kirsten told Shaq and Jasmine told Eris. I don't know, I don't remember that. But, they get home and this is now their final night together before decision day. As you guys know where I stand, I think only one couple saying yes. I could potentially see Jasmine saying yes. People can potentially see Kirsten saying yes. And I do see that based on how she acted with those men. But I don't know if she was doing that for, the sake of those men because they were corny, or if she really is feeling Shaq as her husband, which I hope she's not. I pray she's not. But yeah, I'm so excited. We're at the end. One more episode, y'all. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and tune back in next week after decision day so I can discuss what happened because I know it's going to be a mess. All right. See you guys later. Bye.